YouTube. I'm so sorry for abandoning you. I didn't want to scare you. I had some health issues going on over the past week. I collapsed last week. I couldn't even get out of bed last night to read this new explosive document in the Lindsey Gaetani and Aidan Kearney case. I tried to listen to the Glera read it, but he got distracted talking about Jason Broyles and insulting him, which was kind of interesting. And now I'm here. We're going to listen to it. It's a long document. Good morning. Roll the intro.
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah, that's the melody to Funky Town.
The towel. That's it. That's the melody to Funky Town. Hello, it's me. I'm a towel. It's so good to see you all. I'm literally exhausted. I collapsed last week in the middle of the week. I did not want to scare you all. I'm so sorry for abandoning you all, for closing arguments of the Donna Adelson trial. God bless the Markell family. Donna was convicted. We will get a chance later this week to watch closing arguments. This is the first day where I felt any semblance of strength. Even last night when this document came out, I was trying to read it and my brain was just completely overwhelmed. So this new document, you're going to see my real-time reaction to reading this in real time. I tried to listen to the Glera read it last night, but one, he didn't get through the document, and two, he kept going on tangents about like Jason Broyles being a cross-dresser and all this other stuff. So I couldn't process it. I was tired. We're going to listen to it together. Now, this was a hell of a weekend. All right, so I'm barely able to get out of bed over the weekend, and then all of a sudden, all this chaos goes down. Saturday, Sunday, and I'm just trying to get by day to day. I just want to get to the doctor so that I can know I'm not dying. And then Monday afternoon, this hits. All right. Now we're going to read it together. We're going to listen to it. I'm going to try to process it because I could not understand what the Glera was saying last night when he was reading it. And we're going to go from there. But we're going to take it slow. This is not going to be a long stream. I am not physically well. I'm telling you that right now. I don't know if it was exhaustion the middle of last week or burnout from broadcasting the trials. I don't know, but I got very scared after I collapsed. So I didn't want to frighten you, but I do want to let you know I got all of your messages. I'm okay. I need to take things slow. And so all we're going to do today is listen to this document. I'm not going to read it. I know. By the way, I did find a better AI voice for some of you, okay? I did my best, but I'm not going to read it. I can't. Someone asked me in DM overnight if I could just read this to you all. First of all, I haven't read it myself. Second of all, I can't. My voice isn't strong enough. My body isn't strong enough. I had an energy drink to try to do this, but it's going to push me, okay? And then I need to go get lunch after. And I have a lot of other stuff going on in terms of school and expenses. I need to focus on that. So let's do this, but just be gentle with towel. I'm exhausted and I literally collapsed in the middle of last week. And now as I'm trying to recover from that, we're going to read this document. I'm a little out of it and baffled. I had some sense that this whole sort of lawsuit was going to be chaos involving Lindsey Gaetani and Aidan Kearney. Wasn't expecting this. So we need to take it in together. Feel free to comment on it. We're going to read it. The reason why I wanted to do the stream is I appreciated that the Glera was willing to read it because I couldn't read it. So I wanted to listen to it, but he wasn't actually reading it. He was like reading a little bit, then going on like a story. He told some actually interesting stories about his past. Him and the Glera and I disagree on a lot of stuff, but like on the whole, I think we're like tolerant of each other on my end, because one time he just announced on his show that like it doesn't matter who people love and like he's not a bigot. He just like said that and no one asked him to. So I've always had a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for him, but he just says like he's a little vulgar and he says some things that I don't exactly love. But anyway, so I was trying to listen to Will, and I was grateful he was reading it, but I couldn't follow the document because he kept reading a little bit, then he kept going on a tangent, then he'd like talk about Jason Broyles being an online crossdresser or something, then he would go back to the document. It was just too much, and I was tired, and so now I'm up, and we're going to do it. And hello, Bunny Towel, hello, Meredith, hello, Nicole, and Monica, and Anne. It's so good to see you all. We're going to listen to this. Now, I know some of you specifically said to me, I really don't like that AI voice that you use. I think when the O'Keefe civil document came in, that was pretty lengthy. This one is really long. It says it's 91 pages. We are not reading 91 pages, okay? I don't know what I don't know how long that's going to take. We're going to read as much as we can before lunchtime, okay? And I found an AI voice that's like, oh, it's okay. I was listening to it 5 minutes ago. She sounds professional, the AI voice. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Give Little Towel a little grace. Little Towel's barely here with you all, and I just want to get to lunchtime, and then we will reconvene later this week, and we'll talk about the Adelson closings. We'll play the trivia I promised you, but just know it's not for want of Towel desiring to play trivia. It was that I literally collapsed last week, and I did not want to scare you all. I did not want to make you feel like guilty or nervous, so I just pushed through it. I'm here now. Let's listen to the document. Little Towel, as you know, is disabled, as it were, so whether it's like the colitis or the facial neuralgia or the throat issues, like all that stuff's bad enough. And then if I push my body too hard, one, I knew it was coming because I was collapsing over the summer, but two, like I just can't get out of bed, and it just completely wipes me out. So I have to be... I can't, my mind tries to tell my body that everything's just fine and I can just ignore it all and the pain and the exhaustion and the whatever. But then my body eventually will be like, no, that's not how this works. And then I just collapse for like a week. So that happened. I got a little scared. I'm here. All right, we're going to listen to the document. Let's do it. All right, AI voice. Let's see how you do. All right, here we go. Come on now. No. I want to start at the beginning of the document. I was letting her read a little bit of the document earlier, the AI voice, so that she could practice. All right, let's go.
Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Worcester, SS. Superior Court. 2185 CV 0035. Aidan Kearney. V.S. Lindsey Gaetani. Defendant's answer and counterclaim. Defendant/counterclaim plaintiff Lindsey Gaetani, pursuant to Mass. R. Civ. P. 8, 13, 15, and 20, hereby answers the complaint of plaintiff Aidan Kearney and asserts counterclaims against Kearney and additional counter-defendants Medfield Police Detective Dylan Haldeman, Massachusetts State Police Lieutenant Brian Tully, Norfolk District Attorney's Office Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove and Jason Broyles. All allegations in the complaint not expressly admitted are denied. Gaetani asserts affirmative defenses and counterclaims, including claims for contribution under MGLC 231B, as set forth below. By written agreement of the parties, this answer is due by close of business on September 5, 2025. Additional defense. Plaintiff's request for injunctive relief in the complaint, seeking to silence Gaetani's speech about her victimization, constitutes an unconstitutional prior restraint in violation of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and Article 16 of the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights. See near v. Minnesota, 283 U.S. 1697, 7-13-14, 1931, Commonwealth v. Blanding, 3 Pick, 304. 1. 313-14 Mass. 1825. Such relief is also an abuse of process, as it aims to taint the jury pool in Kearney's criminal cases by intimidating Gaetani, a victim and witness. C. Vitens v. Sudatha. 41 Mass. Ep. CT. 5-19. Finding 1996 abuse of process for ulterior motive. I. Answer to complaint. 1. Admitted. 2. Denied. Defendant resides in Norfolk County with a P.O. Box mailing address. 3. The defendant restates her responses to paragraphs 1 and 2. 4. Denied. The statements referenced in the complaint were not defamatory. To the extent they assert facts, they are true or substantially true based on the defendant's personal knowledge and experiences. To the extent they express opinions, they are protected under the First Amendment. 5. Denied for the same reasons as paragraph 4. Any publications were made in response to the plaintiff's own public disclosures and attacks on the defendant's character. 6. Admitted that the defendant made statements substantially as quoted, but denied that They are defamatory, false, or actionable. These statements reflect the defendant's honest beliefs based on her direct experiences with the plaintiff, including an incident of non-consensual sexual activity on October 14, 2023, and subsequent harassment. They are either true statements of fact, protected opinions, or rhetorical hyperbole in the context of heated public discourse on social media. Denied that the defendant has knowledge of the photograph referenced in subparagraph N.
Alright, hold on. This needs a content warning. Whoa. Okay, so this, I may have forgot to mention, needs a content warning because this lawsuit, so Kearney's original complaint has to do with allegations levied by Gaetani and filed to the police about Kearney's conduct in October of 2023 that Gaetani alleges was SA. It's very important to give this content warning because I didn't realize this was going to jump into this so quickly. This could come up in this document multiple times. If that is something that you are sensitive to, that topic, I'm just giving you this content warning now, and let's get back to the document.
And which is, in any event, satirical commentary and not a statement of fact. 7-10. Denied. The statements are not false, they are based on the defendant's experiences and reports to law enforcement, including allegations of criminal conduct, for example sexual 2. Assault, witness intimidation, illegal interception of an oral communication, wiretapping and violations of a restraining order and observations of the plaintiff's behavior suggestive of substance abuse or mental health issues. Any such statements were made without malice and in good faith. Furthermore, Kearney has made multiple public statements about his mental health conditions, 1 for example depression 2, and anxiety 3, and Kearney has publicly admitted to threatening suicide. 4. 11-14. Denied. The statements were not made with actual malice or reckless disregard for the truth. They were based on the defendant's personal knowledge and belief in their truth. A. Count 1 slander. 15. The defendant restates her responses to paragraphs 1-14. 16-20. Denied. No slander occurred. The statements are true, opinion, or protected speech. The plaintiff has suffered no cognizable damages, and any alleged harm is self-inflicted by his own public conduct and disclosures. Furthermore, Kearney has stated publicly on multiple occasions that his total social media viewership has gone up since the statements in question were made by Gaetani. In fact, after the statements were made, Kearney reached 150,000 subscribers on YouTube's social media video sharing website. See Exhibit A. Aidan Kearney, Why I'm Taking a Mental Health Break, TB Daily News 2021. http URL.
Come on now. Hold on. Come on now, you were doing so well.
Last visited Sep 4, 2025. Free.
We're giving the bot a chance. It's doing well. We're giving the bot a chance.
Aidan Kearney, Canton Cover-Up Part 2868. Turtle Boys Prison Journal Part 1 TB Daily News 2024. http URL. Last visited Sep 4. 2025. 4. Aidan Kearney, Suicide Prevention live stream tonight at 9. Still looking for nonprofits that aren't afraid to
I don't think the
associate
bot
with
likes
TB and
URLs.
want to save lives. TB Daily News 2021. http URL. Last visited Sep 4, 2025. 1. 2. Free. In this regard, Kearney has also publicly stated, in the time since the statements were made, that his income has gone up, that he is more successful, and that Kearney has upcoming movie, podcast, and book deals. 5. B. Count 2 libel. 21. The defendant restates her responses to paragraphs 1-20, 22-26, denied for the same reasons as count 1. C. Count 3, intentional infliction of emotional distress. 27. The defendant restates her responses to paragraphs 1-26. 28-32. Denied. The defendant's conduct was neither intentional to cause distress nor extreme and outrageous. It was responsive to the plaintiff's own extreme actions, including alleged sexual assault, threats, harassment, and public defamation of the defendant. Gaetani's public statements were also made due to the negligence per se of state officials who disclosed the rape report in violation of law and their duty to Gaetani, and because those officials failed to take action on her report, despite informing Gaetani that the investigation of Kearney for rape was and remains open. This was thus Gaetani commenting on a matter of public concern.
Must be a huge document. The bot never struggles to read documents. Also, that's wild.
Indeed, on the same night, January 7, 2025, that the restraining order held by Gaetani was not renewed, Kearney went on a social media live show and brought up the sexual assault allegations in question 6 prior to Gaetani discussing the sexual assault in public. Kearney joked with other members of the social media show about the quality of the sex with Gaetani during the sexual 5, 6. See Exhibit B. See Exhibit C. 4. Assault. At another point in time, during a public broadcast, Kearney also joked gleefully about how Gaetani refused to give him roadhead on the night of the sexual assault and attempted to flee Kearney's vehicle during that portion of the sexual assault. D. Count 4, injunctive relief. 3. An unconstitutional prior restraint on speech. Roman 2. Affirmative defenses. 1. Failure to state a claim. The complaint fails to state a claim upon which relief can be granted under Mass. R. Civ. P. 12b6. 2. Truth/substantial truth. All statements of fact are true or substantially true. 3. Opinion/rhetorical hyperbole. The statements are non-actionable opinions or hyperbole protected by the First Amendment. 4. Fair comment/report. The statement can constitute fair comment on matters of public concern or fair reporting of official proceedings, for example, police reports, court actions. 5. Actual malice not proven. If the plaintiff is a public figure or a limited-purpose public figure as a blogger and public commentator who willfully interests himself into high-profile cases like the Karen Reed and John O'Keefe matter, he cannot prove actual malice. Furthermore, if Kearney asserts his Turtle Boy public persona is merely a character that he is playing for purposes of a defense to Gaetani's countercomplaint, then any statements by Gaetani about such a character are per se not libelous or defamatory, as characters being played by an actor cannot be defamed or libeled. 5. Notwithstanding the veracity of the statements in question, which Gaetani asserts were true, protected opinion or hyperbole. 6. Privilege. The statements are privileged as responses to the plaintiff's own public attacks and disclosures. 7. Unclean hands. The plaintiff comes to court with unclean hands due to his own tortious conduct toward the defendant. 8. No damage. The plaintiff has suffered no actual damages. 9. Statute of limitations. Any claims based on statements prior to the applicable limitations period are barred. 10. First Amendment. All claims are barred by the U.S. and Massachusetts Constitution's protections of free speech. 11. Alternative causation of damages. Any alleged losses or harm suffered by Plaintiff Kearney, including reputational or economic damage, were caused not by Gaetani's statements but by Kearney's own actions, including his open felony cases, e.g. indictments for witness intimidation and wiretapping. Norfolk Superior Court, docket Nos. 23-313 and 24-43, his sexually charged comments on his media platforms, his hostile and unprofessional treatment of viewers during live streams, his harassment campaigns targeting the family of John O'Keefe and others, and his general conduct that has alienated some potential audiences and stakeholders. The defendant reserves the right to assert additional defenses as discovery proceeds. 6. Roman 3. Counterclaim. Pursuant to Mass. R. Civ. P. 13. Defendantlish counterclaim. Plaintiff Lindsey Gaetani asserts the following counterclaims against plaintiff/counterclaim defendant Aidan Kearney and additional counter-defendants: Medfield Police Detective Dylan Haldeman, Massachusetts State Lieutenant Brian Tully, Norfolk District Attorney's Office Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove, and Jason Broyles, collectively with Kearney, the counter-defendants. Jurisdiction and venue are proper in this court as these claims arise from the same transaction or occurrence as the original complaint. This court has personal jurisdiction over Broyles, a resident of Connecticut, pursuant to MGLC 223A, Section 3, a transacting business in the Commonwealth by regularly traveling to Massachusetts to attend court hearings related to Kearney's cases and directing online activities and posts at Massachusetts residents and audiences, and Section 3C, causing tortious injury in the Commonwealth by acts or omissions outside the state, including defamatory and privacy-invading posts that harm a Massachusetts resident. Such jurisdiction comports with due process under the U.S. Constitution, as Broyles has purposefully availed himself of the privilege of conducting activities in Massachusetts, for example attending Massachusetts court proceedings and targeting Massachusetts-based legal matters and audiences via social media, creating minimum contacts with the forum such that he could reasonably anticipate being hauled into court here for harms arising from those activities. See Ticketmaster New York, Inc. v. Alioto, 26 F.3D 201, 25-6 and 12 First Sir. 1994, upholding jurisdiction over out-of-state defendant for defamation directed at Massachusetts via statement to Massachusetts newspaper under Law Norm Section 3C and Calder. Effects test, Hugel v. McNell, 886 F.2D1 4-5 First Sir. 1989, upholding jurisdiction over out-of-state defendants for defamation causing foreseeable harm in forum under effects test. Berger. 7. King Corp. v. Rudzuix, 471 U.S. 462, 474-76 1985. Calder v. Jones, 465 U.S. 783, 789-90. 1984, jurisdiction proper where out-of-state defendant directs tortious acts at forum resident with foreseeable harm in forum. See also Chen v. Huan No. Make 2014-04696, 2015 WL. 6 me 4 38 8 at *3 Mass. Super. CTE. Oct. 15, 2015, exercising jurisdiction over foreign defendant for online defamation posted on foreign website by causing harm to Massachusetts resident. Gaetani asserts that the governmental counter-defendants Haldeman, Tully, and Cosgrove are liable under the Massachusetts Tort Claims Act, MGLC 258, and that presentment letters were sent on September 5, 2025 to the town of Medfield for Haldeman, the Massachusetts State Police for Tully, and the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office for Cosgrove in compliance with MGLC 258, Section 4. Alternatively, any further presentment requirement is waived or excused due to ongoing violations. Roman 4. Parties. 1. Counterclaim. Plaintiff Lindsey Gaetani is a resident of Norfolk County, Massachusetts. 2. Counterclaim. Defendant Aidan Kearney is a resident of Holden, Worcester County, Massachusetts. Free. Additional counter-defendant Detective Dylan Haldeman is a detective with the Medfield Police Department, located in Medfield, Norfolk County, Massachusetts, and acted under color of law at all relevant times. 4. Additional counter-defendant Lieutenant Brian Tully is a lieutenant with the Massachusetts State Police, assigned to the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, and acted under color of law at all relevant times. 8. 5. Additional counter-defendant Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove is a special prosecutor with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office and acted under color of law at all relevant times. 6. Additional counter-defendant Jason Broyles is a resident of Bristol, Connecticut, who regularly travels to Massachusetts to attend court hearings related to Kearney's criminal cases and directs social media posts about Massachusetts-based legal matters at audiences in Massachusetts. V. Facts common to all counts. 7. On October 14, 2023, Kearney sexually assaulted Gaetani. The assault began at Mick Morgan's bar in Norwood, where Kearney engaged in non-consensual sexual contact in a public area. 8. While driving Gaetani from the bar to her home in Medfield, Kearney attempted to elicit Gaetani to perform oral sex on him roadhead. In Kearney's words, Gaetani fled Kearney's vehicle on an active roadway to avoid doing so, whereupon 2 passers-by intervened and attempted to rescue her. Kearney then prevented those 2 passing motorists from assisting Gaetani, forced Gaetani back into his car, and then transported her to her apartment, where he engaged in further non-consensual sexual intercourse. While Gaetani was impaired and unable to consent, Kearney recorded the encounter without Gaetani's knowledge or consent at the time. 9. Kearney's actions during the drive preventing rescue and forcing Gaetani back into the vehicle constituted false imprisonment, as Gaetani was confined against her will, without legal justification, causing her fear, humiliation, and physical restraint. 9. 10. As a direct result of this additional incident, Gaetani has incurred further medical expenses, for example therapy for trauma, suffered increased reputational damage, for example fear of public disclosure, endured heightened pain and suffering, for example flashbacks, anxiety, and incurred legal expenses. 11. On December 14, 2023, during an interview with LT Brian Tully and a private investigator Nelson de Gouveia regarding Gaetani's knowledge of Kearney and another matter, Gaetani first reported the assault. LT Tully urged her to file an official report, but Gaetani declined out of fear of retaliation. 12. On December 22, 2023, LT Tully and the investigator served Gaetani with a grand jury subpoena unannounced. 7. 13. On December 22, 2023, Kearney was invited to Gaetani's home after Gaetani received that grand jury subpoena related to Kearney and Karen Reed. Kearney declined that invitation. 14. During that day, and into the morning of December 23, 2023, Kearney began a series of harassing communications towards Gaetani. Kearney sent Gaetani highly sensitive
Come on, bot, you can do it. I can't read this anyway. Come on, bot, you can do it. Oh, that was very hard to listen to. That was a lot. Come on, bot.
Kearney sent Gaetani highly sensitive judicial documents and made other implied threats until Gaetani provided information to Kearney. 15. Then, Kearney told Gaetani he would visit her the next day, December 23, 2023. 16. On the morning of December 23, 2023, Kearney asked Gaetani to install the Signal Messenger application, an app that Gaetani understands is used for the purposes of encrypted communication. Kearney, after those series of messages and attempts at coercive control, appeared at Gaetani's home, demanded to see her phone, threatened 7. See Exhibit D. 10. Retaliation if she testified before the grand jury or refused to comply with Kearney's demands, took notes from her phone, wrestled her for the notes, and pushed her onto a couch. 17. During this exchange, Kearney told Gaetani that she could legally delete all information on her phone because no preservation order had yet been served by prosecutors on Gaetani. When Gaetani asked Kearney what she should do at the grand jury if asked about the deleted information, Kearney told Gaetani to say she did not remember when asked those questions. Kearney then offered Gaetani a lawyer and said he would be willing to pay for it to help Gaetani. However, in the same breath, Kearney informed
Come on, bot, you can do it.
However, in the same breath, Kearney informed Gaetani that he could not trust her any longer. She had spoken to the police and, in turn, Gaetani would only be permitted to meet with that lawyer with Kearney present. Gaetani declined all of these offers from Kearney. 18.
The bot, for the first time ever, is struggling, and I'm going to let it struggle because I'm not reading this. This is breaking my heart. What that poor girl went through. You can find her fundraising link in the chat. Please consider donating.
Gaetani declined all of these offers from Kearney. 18. On December 24, 2023, Gaetani reported assault and battery and witness intimidation to Lieutenant Brian Tully. Tully then called Medfield Police. Medfield Police then called Gaetani and informed her they would be visiting her apartment. At that point, the Medfield Police took a police report. A bolo was issued for Kearney, and an emergency restraining order was sought by Gaetani and granted on Gaetani's behalf against Kearney. 19. On December 26, 2023, Kearney turned himself in and was sentenced to 90 days in jail due to a sustained finding of Kearney violating his existing bail conditions on the December 2023 felony charges. 20. On January 8, 2024, the original restraining order issued December 24, 2023 was extended for a further term of 1 year. 11. 21. Gaetani testified before the grand jury on February 1 and February 22, 2024. 22. On February 23, 2024, Kearney was released after 60 days instead of his initial 90-day term due to statutory limitations and indicted for witness intimidation and illegal interception of oral communications. 23. In February 2024, Kearney violated the restraining order and was charged accordingly. 24. In February 2024, Kearney violated the restraining order and was charged accordingly. 24. Around February 28, 2024, Gaetani was summoned to Medfield Police regarding a false accusation by Kearney that Gaetani wiretapped him by recording sex without consent via home security cameras. During the interview, police demanded to view all intimate videos and photos on her phone of Gaetani and Kearney, which she provided under duress. In explaining examples of Kearney's own secret recordings, Gaetani described the October 14, 2023 assault, along with 2 other occasions on which Kearney had recorded Gaetani during a sexual act. Gaetani mentioned that the recording from October 14, 2023 stood out due to the events of that night. Gaetani then described the events of the night of October 14, 2023 to the Medfield police officers. At that point, police paused the interview and informed Gaetani that what she had just described was a sexual assault. Gaetani begged them not to pursue charges at that time due to fear of retaliation. Including Kearney's threats to release intimate videos prior to Massachusetts' revenge. Corn law, although charged with wiretapping. 25. In the following days or weeks, Gaetani informed her victim advocate at Medfield police that she had changed her mind and wished to cooperate with the criminal process. Again, 12. Evidence to the Medfield police. The police confirmed receipt of that evidence and Gaetani's desire to pursue charges, but provided no updates. 26.
Bot's doing her best. I don't think she's ever read this many words before.
On April 13, 2024, Kearney publicly announced on YouTube episode 654, air April 13, 2024 that Medfield police were investigating him for rape, calling it a lie. This was the first public mention of the allegation, initiated by Kearney himself. 8. 27.
Alright, I have a plan. We're going to try to start it again. And then I'm going to jump down because that was a lot. Alright, so hold on. I think it was just a lot for the bot to read, so let me try again. Oh, now it doesn't want to work at all? Come on, bot. You were doing so well. Alright, I have a backup plan. I just can't read it myself. I'm sorry. So we have to rely on the bot. And you might not like the bot, but Towel likes the bot. Alright, so we're going to rely on the bot. Thank you, bot. One more time. I guess we could always just do this. Hold on, stay with me. I have a plan. Can you please read bot? You're really bothering me now. Alright, we'll try one more time. Stay with me, little towels. I'm not going to give up on it, and I'm not reading this myself. I'm sorry. I know you want me to, but it's too much. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. So we are going to have it read aloud, and the only way we can do that is if the bot cooperates, and I think the bot's mad at me. So I made the bot read a lot of text. We're taking a small break while I reload the text and then try to get the bot to do it one more time. Alright, bot, can you do this for me, please? Really, bot? Really? Really? Alright, bear with me. Oh, pardon me, folks. We're only on page 13 of this, so we have more work to do. And I have a plan. Alright, so I have a plan. 5 minutes per day. No, I need unlimited reading, please.
Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Worcester, SS. The Superior Court. $2,585 CV 0035. Aidan Kearney. V.S. Lindsey Gaetani.
Pardon me for the delay. It's not as easy as it seems to make it read a 50-page document. Come on, bot. Come on. Alright, we're trying another one if this won't work. I have a backup plan. I refuse to give up. You know why? Because I'm not reading this. I can't. It already broke me down when I was listening to that earlier. Okay? So, allow me 1 second. I think I have a backup option that will work.
Text message. Evidence to the Medfield Police. The police confirmed receipt of that evidence and 26. On April 13, 2024, Kearney publicly announced on YouTube episode 654, aired April 13, 2024 that Medfield police were investigating him for rape, calling it a lie. This was the first public mention of the allegation, initiated by Kearney himself. 8. 27. On August 8, 2024, an individual using the alias Haley Walbrecht, later revealed as Jason Broyles, acting on Kearney's behalf, posted Gaetani Files Part 3 online, including an unredacted, confidential police report of Gaetani's assault allegation. 9 The Gaetani Files was a multi-part blog series created by Broyles for the purposes of targeting Gaetani on behalf of Kearney. The post was explicit and graphic in nature and contained lies about Gaetani, mischaracterized the events, and falsely claimed police concluded no rape occurred. This was the first time that Gaetani had been exposed to the details of her own rape report. 28 On or about 2024, and prior to releasing the unredacted sexual assault report on or about August 8, 2024, Jason Broyles posted a series of blogs and videos titled The Gaetani Files Part 1 and The Gaetani Files Part 2 on his platform, which targets Massachusetts audiences and aligns with the objectives of Kearney's Turtleboy Daily News and YouTube channel is to targeting Gaetani with false and defamatory statements that, in turn, incited Broyles and Kearney's audiences to engage in a large-scale harassment campaigns against Gaetani. See Exhibit C. See Exhibit E. 10. See Exhibit F. 8, 9, 13, 29. These blogs and other public statements by Broyles contained numerous false statements about Gaetani, including but not limited to accusations of fraud, false statements about Gaetani being a fake victim of domestic violence, fabricating her sexual assault allegations, and engaging in criminal or immoral conduct, all of which were made with knowledge of their falsity or reckless disregard for the truth. 30. Broyles' Gaetani Files posts induced a massive campaign of public harassment against Gaetani, with his audience and Kearney's followers engaging in online and real-world attacks, including threats, derogatory comments, and public shaming to the benefit of Kearney's efforts to discredit Gaetani as a victim and witness in his criminal cases. Norfolk Superior Court, Docket Nos. 23-3213 and 24-43. 31. As a direct result of Broyles' actions, Gaetani suffered severe emotional distress, further reputational damage, for example loss of credibility in her community, with law enforcement and with the courts, medical expenses, for example increased therapy costs, pain and suffering, and legal expenses to counteract the harassment. 32. On August 10, 2024, Kearney admitted on YouTube that he provided the report to Haley for posting. The unredacted rape report was then posted with malice and in a manner designed to humiliate Gaetani. Several comments by Broyles and others on those social media posts included language calling Gaetani a slam pig who got railed from behind when describing the video of Gaetani being raped. 11 Kearney and others cropped screenshots related to Gaetani's communications with Kearney prior to and following the rape. Those actions further tormented Gaetani. 11. See Exhibit T. 14. 33. On November 12, 2024, Gaetani emailed LT Tully reporting further harassment and inquiring about the lack of charges or updates on the assault investigation. 12 There was no response from Tully. 34. On November 15, 2024, Gaetani emailed LT Tully again, forwarding screenshots from a woman named Christina Machete, who had been a former acquaintance of Kearney, showing Kearney's messages falsely describing the assault video, for example claiming Gaetani was standing and yelling explicit phrases, which was untrue, and threatening Machete for believing Gaetani. 13 Kearney defamed Machete in a blog and threatened her that she should delete her social media accounts. Machete has not been heard from since. Kearney has similarly harassed others who have defended Gaetani. Medfield police informed Gaetani that all future reports from Gaetani regarding Kearney were to be directed to Tully. At that point, Gaetani expressed to Tully fear for her safety due to escalating harassment, for example death threats. No response was provided by Tully. 35. On November 27, 2024, Gaetani emailed LT Tully detailing further harassment, including threats from Broyles, e.g., "Don't make me accelerate, it's not going to be good for U14 and a YouTube video episode 713, 11/24/24 where Kearney threatened to sue anyone calling him a rapist, implying Gaetani to pose them and use it against them in criminal cases. 15 Gaetani expressed terror and reluctance to testify. No response was provided by Mr. Tully yet again. Gaetani, in fact, emailed Tully multiple times between October of 2024 and December of 2024-16, and no response was ever provided. See Exhibit H. See Exhibit I. 14. See Exhibit J. 15. See Exhibit K. 16. See Exhibit L. 12. 13. 15. 36. On January 7, 2025, the renewal of the restraining order was denied. 37. That night, January 7, 2025, on YouTube, Kearney falsely claimed Gaetani's legal fundraisers were fraudulent and that she only paid her lawyer $1,500 of $8,000 charged. 38. In fact, Gaetani paid the lawyer in question $6,500 from and $8,000 retainer and was refunded $1,500 for the balance owed to her. Ms. Gaetani then retained a second lawyer related to a series of Rule 14 and Rule 17 requests from Mr. Kearney's lawyers in the context of his going criminal cases in Norfolk Superior Court. Ms. Gaetani is the named victim in 2 of those open felony cases and a named witness/other interested party in 10 of Kearney's other open felony indictments. 39. The balance from that retainer and a further $2,000 was then paid to the second attorney. 40. In sum, Ms. Gaetani's total legal expenses related to matters involving Mr. Kearney's actions have exceeded $15,000 to this point in time. That sum is expected to continually increase as Mr. Kearney's various cases and the instant matter proceed. 41. Kearney's false statements about Gaetani's legal fees and fundraising were published to a wide audience via YouTube, a platform with thousands of viewers, and were intended to impugn Gaetani's integrity, accuse her of fraud, and further damage her reputation. 42. These statements were made with actual malice, as Kearney knew or recklessly disregarded the truth, e.g., Gaetani's documented payments to her attorneys. 43. As a direct result of these additional defamatory statements, Gaetani has suffered further reputational harm, for example, accusations of fraud affecting her community standing and credibility as a victim, emotional distress, medical expenses, for example, additional therapy. Section 4.
All right, we're going to try a different speech program because I'm getting tired of being... It's a lot of text for it to read, so we're going to try this one, okay? No promises that this is going to work, but here we go. Oh, come on. All right, we're going back to the other one. All of them want to charge. I think it's because it's not easy for it to do this. So, we're going to let it buffer up again. Apparently getting...
On January 8, 2025, Kearney filed this lawsuit. 16. 45. At undated points, Kearney falsely told a Boston Magazine reporter accompanying him to Medfield police that Gaetani illegally recorded him without consent, leading to his bogus wiretapping complaint. 17 Kearney repeated this lie in blogs and YouTube, claiming she hid cameras and shared videos untrue. 46. Gaetani repeatedly contacted police about the assault investigation, providing witness.
Give it a second. I have a backup plan.
Names. Police confirm was active as late as January 2025, but refused her formal. Request for the report due to the open investigation. 18. 47.
Alright, switching to the other text reader. It's not, I really can't blame the bot. It's a lot for it to read, so we'll try the other one. No promises here, but let's see if it could do it. Come on, bot.
Sign in with Google is required to continue with this premium voice. Or, if you prefer, you may switch to a free unlimited voice.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Sign in with Google is required to continue with this premium voice. Or, if you prefer, you may switch to a free unlimited voice.
Okay, now you are all realizing that it actually costs... I think there are resources one must put in. Alright, here we go.
47. On one visit, with Gaetani's friend Grant Ellis, who was permitted to attend as emotional support, Medfield Police discussed the case. On another occasion, the Medfield Police cited insufficient prongs for date rape charges based on a 15-second video clip of Kearney sexual assaulting Gaetani. Detective Haldeman later refused additional evidence, e.g., babysitter screenshots, witness names, 19, and blamed the DA for improperly releasing the unredacted report to Kearney. 48. Then, in 2025, Medfield Police, yet again, changed course and informed Ms. Gaetani that the rape investigation was still open. 49. The status of that rape investigation, to Ms. Gaetani's best knowledge and belief, is still open as of the date of this filing, September 4, 2025, as, on January 13, 2025, Ms. Gaetani received a voicemail from Medfield Police Detective Dylan Haldeman wherein Haldeman reached out for the purpose of obtaining more information from Gaetani about the night of the sexual assault. Catherine Elton, Free Karen Reed blogger Turtleboy will not go quietly. Boston Magazine, 2024. https://www.bostonmagazine.com/news/05//who-dashes-turtleboy Aidan Kearney, last visited September 4, 2025. 18. See Exhibit M. 19. See Exhibit N. 17. 17. 50. Gaetani only went public to counter Kearney's lies about her as a fake victim, after he disclosed the allegation and spread the report and out of context, cropped texts that contained sexually explicit messages. 51. Kearney's actions, including the assault, threats, public disclosures, false accusations, and harassment campaign, were intentional, extreme, and outrageous, causing Gaetani severe emotional distress, fear for her safety, and harm to her reputation and privacy. 52. All false statements by Kearney were made with actual malice, knowing their falsity or with reckless disregard for the truth. 53. The sexual assault investigation based on Gaetani's reports to law enforcement remains active to this day, as confirmed by Medfield Police as recently as January 2025. Gaetani was denied a copy of her own report due to the open investigation and privacy concerns. 54. Under MGLC 41, Section 97D, reports of rape and sexual assault are confidential and not public records. They must be maintained in a manner assuring confidentiality. Additional statutes, including MGLC 233, Section 20J, confidentiality of victim counselor communications, and federal privacy protections, impose duties on.
Switching voices.
Nice to meet you. Did you know most birds can see more colors than humans? 55. Despite the active investigation and confidentiality requirements, Special Prosecutor Cosgrove improperly released Gaetani's unredacted sexual assault report to Kearney and/or his attorneys as part of discovery.
What?
54. Under MGL Circa 41, Section 97D, reports of rape and sexual assault are confidential and not public records. They must be maintained in a manner assuring confidentiality. Additional statutes, including MGL Circa 233, Section 20J, confidentiality of victim counselor communications, and federal privacy protections, impose duties on law enforcement and prosecutors to protect victim information. 55. Despite the active investigation and confidentiality requirements, Special Prosecutor Cosgrove improperly released Gaetani's unredacted sexual assault report to Kearney and/or his attorneys as part of discovery in ongoing criminal proceedings against Kearney, without redaction or protective measures. This release violated MGL Circa 41, Section 97D and Gaetani's privacy rights. 56. Detective Haldeman informed Gaetani that the release was a screw-up by the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, acknowledging it should not have occurred without 18. redactions, even if the investigation were closed, which it was not. Haldeman was involved in the investigation, including interviews, evidence collection, and communications about the report's status, yet failed to prevent or mitigate the improper disclosure. 57. Lieutenant Tully was directly involved in Gaetani's initial report on December 14, 2023. The subpoena service on December 22, 2023, and subsequent grand jury proceedings. Tully ignored Gaetani's multiple emails, November 12, 15, and 27, 2024, reporting harassment, threats, and requests for updates on the assault investigation, breaching duties to protect the victim and maintain confidentiality. 58. Multiple further emails were sent by Gaetani to Tully after November 27, 2024. Tully's inaction contributed to the ongoing harm and allowed leaks. 59. The counter-defendant's actions, releasing the unredacted report and failing to safeguard confidentiality, enabled Kearney to publicly disclose and mischaracterize the report, e.g., via Haley on August 8, 2024, causing Gaetani severe harm. These acts were negligent, reckless, or intentional, violating statutory duties and privacy rights. 60. As a direct result of the counter-defendant's conduct, Gaetani has incurred medical expenses, e.g., therapy exceeding $5,000, suffered reputational damage, e.g., public ridicule and lost opportunities, endured pain and suffering, e.g., anxiety, depression, PTSD, and incurred legal expenses, e.g., over $10,000. 61. On October 15, 2023, the day after the sexual assault on October 14, 2023, Kearney sent Gaetani a video recording of the non-consensual sexual intercourse from the previous night, which he had recorded without her knowledge or consent at the time. This dissemination was without Gaetani's permission and caused her shock, humiliation, and 19. Fear, exacerbating the trauma of the assault. This video was sent during the conversation, in which Kearney sent Gaetani text messages confirming that Kearney knew Gaetani was too drunk to have sex on the night of October 14, 2023. In further text messages, Kearney described the sexual acts he committed against Gaetani during the video in question. 62. Between October and December 2023, after Gaetani attempted to end her relationship with Kearney, Kearney sent Gaetani a video of himself threatening to commit suicide by throwing himself into traffic, because Gaetani would not answer Kearney's text messages or phone calls. This act was intended to manipulate and coerce Gaetani into maintaining contact, causing her severe emotional distress and guilt. 63. Kearney's acts of sending Gaetani the non-consensual recording and the suicide threat video were part of a pattern of coercive control, harassment, and emotional manipulation, violating Gaetani's privacy and exacerbating her harms. 64. As a direct result of these additional acts by Kearney, Gaetani has incurred further medical expenses, e.g., intensified therapy sessions, suffered increased reputational damage, e.g., fear of further dissemination, endured heightened pain and suffering, e.g., flashbacks, panic attacks, and incurred additional legal expenses, e.g., consultations on privacy protections. 65. Jason Broyles, using the alias Haley Walbrecht, an X-handle at OneYourCase, at first, and then via the X-handle at OneYourCase 2, acted as a proxy for Kearney by posting defamatory and privacy-invading content about Gaetani on various dates and times during the year 2024. On August 8, 2024, Broyles posted Gaetani Files Part 3, including an unredacted confidential police report of Gaetani's sexual assault allegation. 20. Broyles' blog post contained lies about Gaetani, mischaracterized the events, and falsely claimed police concluded no rape occurred. Kearney admitted on YouTube on August 10, 2024, that he provided the report to Broyles for posting. 20. 66. Although Broyles resides in Bristol, Connecticut, he regularly travels to Massachusetts to attend court hearings in Kearney's criminal cases, e.g., Norfolk Superior Court proceedings, as evidenced by his social media posts describing his presence in Massachusetts courtrooms, advocating for victims in Massachusetts cases and supporting Kearney. Broyles has openly stated on social media his involvement in specific Massachusetts court cases and his advocacy for victims therein, targeting Massachusetts audiences with posts about Massachusetts-based legal matters, residents, and corruption allegations. 67. Broyles' actions, including the August 8, 2024 post, were intentional or reckless, made in concert with Kearney, and caused Gaetani severe harm, including emotional distress, reputational damage, and fear of further harassment. 68. As a direct result of Broyles' conduct, Gaetani has incurred additional medical expenses, e.g., therapy, suffered reputational harm, e.g., public ridicule as a fake victim, in Massachusetts communities, endured pain and suffering and incurred legal expenses. 69. Kearney operates a large media platform, including a YouTube channel and the Turtleboy Daily News blog, with thousands of subscribers and viewers, reaching a wide audience across Massachusetts and beyond. Kearney's posts and videos, including those defaming Gaetani and disclosing her private information, have been viewed by tens of thousands, amplifying the harm to her reputation and personal safety. 20. See Exhibit O. 21. 70. As a direct result of Kearney's defamatory statements and disclosures through his platform, e.g., false claims of fraud, wiretapping, lying about her assault and lies about Gaetani's status as a domestic violence victim. Gaetani's reputation has been severely damaged in her community and beyond, to the extent that she reasonably fears she will not be believed if she reports serious crimes to the police, undermining her ability to seek protection or justice. 71. Kearney's actions, including his assault, non-consensual recordings, and public campaign of harassment, have violated Gaetani's sense of safety and security, causing her to live in constant fear of further retaliation, public exposure, and physical harm, particularly given her status as a victim and witness in Kearney's criminal cases. 72. The foregoing actions have caused Gaetani additional severe emotional distress, medical expenses, e.g., ongoing therapy for trauma and anxiety, reputational damage, e.g., loss of credibility in professional and personal circles, pain and suffering, and legal expenses. To counteract the harm. 73. Kearney, through his large media platform, including his YouTube channel and Turtleboy daily news blog with thousands of subscribers and viewers, has publicly announced his intent to taint the jury pool in his ongoing criminal cases. Norfolk Superior Court, docket numbers 23 to 313 and 24 to 43, by silencing his victims, including Gaetani, a named victim and witness in those cases. 74. Specifically, Kearney has used his platform to intimidate and silence Gaetani, along with other victims, through public harassment and by requesting injunctive relief in this civil action to prevent Gaetani from speaking about her victimization, with the ulterior motive 22. Of influencing potential jurors in his criminal cases and undermining the integrity of those proceedings. 75. Kearney's actions, including his request for an unconstitutional injunction in the complaint, constitute an abuse of process, as they are designed to suppress Gaetani's protected speech, intimidate her as a victim and witness, and prejudice the fair administration of justice in Kearney's open criminal cases. 76. As a direct result of Kearney's jury pool tainting efforts, Gaetani has suffered additional severe emotional distress, fear of retaliation, further reputational damage, e.g., public perception as an uncredible victim, medical expenses, e.g., increased therapy costs, pain and suffering, and legal expenses to defend her rights. 77. At various times in 2024 and 2025, Kearney labeled Gaetani a fake victim and undermined her credibility as a survivor of abuse. 21. 78. Kearney's false statements, amplified through his large media platform, caused Gaetani direct economic harm. 79. In April of 2024, Kearney attempted to appeal a section of the restraining order, RO, obtained by Gaetani, which prohibited him from publishing documents about Gaetani. Kearney lost that appeal before a single justice of the Supreme Judicial Court, SJC, confirming the prohibition on his dissemination of such sensitive information. 22. After Kearney lost that appeal, Kearney made a statement on his YouTube show encouraging others to post the documents anyway. 21. 22. See Exhibit P. Commonwealth vs. Kearney, No. SJ 2024-0034, Slip-Hop. Mass. February 16, 2024, Single Justice Decision. 23. 80. Kearney's failed appeal was part of his broader campaign to harass and intimidate Gaetani, further violating her privacy and causing her severe emotional distress, as it prolonged her exposure to public scrutiny and fear of further disclosures. 81. As a direct result of these actions, Gaetani has incurred additional medical expenses, e.g., therapy for exacerbated trauma, reputational damage, e.g., ongoing fear of disbelief by authorities, pain and suffering, legal expenses, e.g., defending the Roe appeal, and heightened violation of her sense of safety and security. 82. Any alleged losses or harms suffered by Kearney, including reputational or economic damage as claimed in his complaint, could very well have been a result of Kearney's own actions, including his open felony cases, e.g., indictments for witness intimidation, wiretapping, and restraining order violations in Norfolk Superior Court, docket numbers 23,313 and 24-43, his sexually charged comments on his media platform, his self-identification as a sex cult leader who runs a sex cult every Thursday night, Kearney's mock sexual interaction with a children's doll while live on air, Kearney's stated preference on air for preferring sexual relations with cats to dogs, Kearney's public pronounce that pedophilia is a kink that is okay as long as someone doesn't act on it, Kearney's remarks that many women enjoy rape fantasies, Kearney's admission in court under oath that he made revenge porn of previous girlfriends other than Gaetani, posting a video on social media wherein Kearney, in front of an elementary school, proclaims himself a sex goblin, his hostile and unprofessional treatment of viewers during live streams, his harassment campaigns targeting the O'Keefe family and others, and his general conduct that has alienated audiences and stakeholders. 24. 83. The counter-defendants are joint tortfeasors, as their conduct collectively caused indivisible harm to Gaetani, including emotional distress, reputational damage, and privacy invasion. Under MGL circa 231b, each is liable for contribution to the extent of their proportionate fault. 84. All statements in the foregoing are true and correct to the best of Gaetani's knowledge and belief. Gaetani has not consented to any recordings or disseminations of the sexual assault in question and fears further harm. A. Count 1. Assault and battery against Kearney. 85. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 84. 86. On October 14, 2023, Kearney intentionally and offensively touched Gaetani without consent by engaging in sexual contact at Mick Morgan's bar and sexual intercourse at her home while she was impaired and unable to consent. 87. On October 14, 2023, Kearney intentionally and offensively touched Gaetani without consent by engaging in that non-consensual sexual contact at Mick Morgan's bar, attempting to elicit oral sex during the drive home, attempting to prevent Gaetani from exiting Kearney's car, pursuing Gaetani when she was eventually to escape the car, preventing her rescue and forcing her back into the vehicle, and then engaging in non-consensual sexual intercourse at Gaetani's home with Gaetani while she was impaired and unable to consent. 88. On December 23, 2023, Kearney intentionally and offensively touched Gaetani by wrestling her for notes and pushing her onto a couch during his visit to Gaetani's home. 89. These acts constituted assault and battery under Massachusetts law. 25. 90. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered emotional trauma, medical expenses, e.g., therapy, pain and suffering, and reputational harm. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney for compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, including but not limited to medical expenses, pain and suffering, emotional distress, reputational damage, legal expenses, and other relief as the court deems just. B. Count 2. False imprisonment home incident against Kearney. 91. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 90. 92. On December 23, 2023, during his visit to Gaetani's home, while spending hours going through Gaetani's phone while Gaetani was under duress and coercion, Kearney confined Gaetani against her will by demanding her phone via the use of threats and blackmail, e.g. private court documents, threatening retaliation, wrestling her for notes, and physically pushing her, preventing Gaetani from resisting Kearney without fear of harm. 93. This confinement was intentional and without legal justification. 94. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered emotional distress, fear, medical expenses for therapy, pain and suffering, and reputational harm from the ensuing public disclosures. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney for compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, including but not limited to medical expenses, pain and suffering, emotional distress, reputational damage, legal expenses, and other relief as the court deems just. 26. See Count 3. False imprisonment, vehicle incident, against Kearney. 95. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 94. 96. On October 14, 2023, during the drive from Mick Morgan's bar to Gaetani's home, Kearney confined Gaetani against her will by attempting to elicit oral sex during the drive home, preventing her escape from the vehicle, blocking intervention by two passers-by after she fled the vehicle, and forcing her back into the car to transport her to her apartment. 97. This confinement was intentional and without legal justification. 98. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered emotional distress, fear, medical expenses for therapy, pain and suffering, and reputational harm from the ensuing events. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney for compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, including but not limited to medical expenses, pain and suffering, emotional distress, reputational damage, legal expenses, and other relief as the court deems just. D. Count 4. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, against all counter-defendants. 99. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 98. 100. The counter-defendants intended to inflict emotional distress or should have known their conduct would cause it, including Kearney's assault and disclosures, and the additional counter-defendants' improper release and handling of confidential information. 27. 101. Their conduct was extreme and outrageous, beyond all bounds of decency, as it involved violating victim confidentiality laws, ignoring pleas for protection, and enabling public harassment. 102. This conduct caused Gaetani severe emotional distress, with physical manifestations. 103. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 104. Kearney's additional conduct, including sending the non-consensual rape video and suicide threat video to Gaetani, was extreme and outrageous, intended to inflict distress through manipulation and coercion. 105. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 106. Kearney's additional false statements about Gaetani's legal fees and fundraising were extreme and outrageous, intended to further humiliate and discredit her, exacerbating her distress. 107. These false statements by Kearney also prevented Gaetani from being able to successfully fundraise for the purposes of defending herself against this lawsuit. 108. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 109. Kearney's additional conduct, including forcing Gaetani back into the vehicle after her escape attempt during the drive, sending the non-consensual rape video, and 28. Suicide threat video, was extreme and outrageous, intended to inflict distress through manipulation and coercion. 110. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 111. The counter-defendants intended to inflict emotional distress or should have known their conduct would cause it, including Kearney's assault and disclosures, the additional counter-defendants' improper release and handling of confidential information, and Broyles' publication of the unredacted report and defamatory content as Kearney's proxy. 112. Their conduct was extreme and outrageous, beyond all bounds of decency, as it involved violating victim confidentiality laws, ignoring pleas for protection, enabling public harassment, and targeting Gaetani with harmful posts while actively participating in Massachusetts proceedings. 113. This conduct caused Gaetani severe emotional distress, with physical manifestations. 114. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 115. The counter-defendant's actions, including Kearney's use of his large platform to amplify defamatory and harassing content, were extreme and outrageous, intended to cause or recklessly causing severe emotional distress, particularly by undermining Gaetani's credibility and safety as a victim. 29. 116. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 117. Kearney's public statements on his platform announcing his intent to taint the jury pool by silencing Gaetani, including through unconstitutional injunctive relief, constitute extreme and outrageous conduct, intentionally or recklessly causing Gaetani severe emotional distress. 118. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 119. Broyles' publication of The Gaetani Files Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3 inches containing false statements and inducing public harassment, constitutes extreme and outrageous conduct, intentionally or recklessly causing Gaetani severe emotional distress, particularly by amplifying Kearney's campaign to discredit her. 120. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 121. Kearney's promulgation of libel and slander labeling Gaetani a fake victim, and his failed appeal of the Roe provision prohibiting publication of documents constitute extreme and outrageous conduct, intentionally or recklessly causing Gaetani severe emotional distress. 122. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 30. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against the counter-defendants, jointly and severally, for compensatory and punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. Count 5. Negligent infliction of emotional distress against all counter-defendants. 123. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 122. 124. The counter-defendants, specifically Tully, Haldeman, and Cosgrove, owed Gaetani a duty of care to protect her confidentiality and well-being as a sexual assault victim, under common law, MGL circa 41, section 97D, and other statutes. 125. They breached this duty through negligent release of the report, failure to redact, ignoring harassment reports, and improper handling of sensitive information. 126. This breach proximately caused Gaetani severe emotional distress with objective symptoms. 127. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 128. Kearney breached his duty through negligent or reckless acts, including the unauthorized recording and dissemination of the intimate video and the coercive suicide threat to Gaetani. 129. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 31. 130. Kearney further breached his duty through reckless false statements about Gaetani's legal fees and fundraising, foreseeably causing her emotional and financial harm. 131. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 132. Broyles breached his duty through negligent or reckless acts. 133. Specifically, Broyles breached this duty through negligent release of the report, and Broyles' negligent or reckless publication targeting Gaetani and designed to reach an audience in Massachusetts. 134. This breach proximately caused Gaetani severe emotional distress with objective symptoms. 135. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage and legal expenses. 136. Kearney breached this duty through negligent acts such as failing to obtain consent, making reckless public disclosures, filing baseless complaints, and forcing Gaetani back into the vehicle during the drive. 137. This breach proximately caused Gaetani severe emotional distress with objective physical manifestations, e.g., insomnia, anxiety attacks. 138. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage, and other harms. 32. 139. The counter-defendant's negligent actions, including Kearney's reckless use of his platform to spread falsehoods, foreseeably caused Gaetani severe emotional distress with physical manifestations, e.g., anxiety, insomnia. 140. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage, and other harms. 141. Kearney's reckless use of his platform to announce jury pool tainting and seek unconstitutional injunctive relief foreseeably caused Gaetani severe emotional distress with physical manifestations, e.g., anxiety, insomnia. 142. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage, and other harms. 143. Broyles' reckless publication of false statements in the Gaetani files foreseeably caused Gaetani severe emotional distress with physical manifestations, e.g., anxiety, insomnia, by inciting public harassment. 144. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage, and other harms. 145. Kearney's reckless false statements labeling Gaetani are fake victim and his appeal of the RO foreseeably caused Gaetani severe emotional distress with physical manifestations, e.g., anxiety, insomnia. 146. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering. Reputational damage, legal expenses and other harms. 33. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against the counter-defendants, jointly and severally, for compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. F. Count 6. Defamation, libel and slander, against Kearney and Broyles. 147. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 146. 148. Kearney made and published false statements of fact about Gaetani, including that she illegally wiretapped him, was fired from her prior job for using drugs, labeled Gaetani are fake victim of domestic violence, claimed Gaetani hid cameras to record sexual activity, shared intimate videos, committed fundraiser fraud, lied about the assault, and harmed actual victims. 149. On January 7, 2025, Kearney falsely stated on YouTube to a wide audience that Gaetani's legal fundraisers were fraudulent and that she only paid her lawyer $1,500 of an $8,000 retainer, when in fact she paid $6,500 and was refunded $1,500, with additional payments to other attorneys totaling over $15,000 in legal expenses related to Kearney's actions. 150. These statements are defamatory per se, accusing Gaetani of crimes and moral turpitude. 151. They were made with actual malice, as Kearney knew or recklessly disregarded their falsity, e.g., Kearney was aware of Gaetani's payments through legal proceedings or failed to make basic fact-finding efforts to obtain those facts. 152. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered reputational damage, emotional distress, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and lost opportunities. 34. 153. Broyles made and published false statements of fact about Gaetani, including that she illegally wiretapped Kearney by way of hiding cameras to record sexual activity, that Gaetani shared intimate videos, that she committed fundraiser fraud, that Gaetani is a fake victim of domestic violence, lied about the assault, and harmed actual victims. Specifically, via Broyles' August 8, 2024 post mischaracterizing the assault report and falsely claiming no rape occurred. 154. These were published via YouTube, slander, blogs, X, libel, and proxies. 155. These statements are defamatory per se, accusing Gaetani of crimes and moral turpitude. 156. They were made with actual malice, as Kearney and Broyles knew or recklessly disregarded their falsity, e.g., Kearney provided the report, Broyles targeted Ma audiences. 157. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered reputational harm, emotional distress, medical expenses, e.g., therapy, pain and suffering, and legal expenses, e.g., to address false claims. 158. Broyles' publication of The Gaetani Files Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3 inches containing false and defamatory statements about Gaetani, e.g., accusing her of fraud and lying about her assault, was made with actual malice, as Broyles knew the statements were false or acted with reckless disregard for their truth, and induced widespread public harassment to Gaetani's detriment. 159. As a direct result, Gaetani suffered reputational damage, emotional distress, medical expenses, and other harms. 35. 160. Kearney's false statements labeling Gaetani a fake victim were made with actual malice, causing direct harm to her legal interests and reputation. 161. As a direct result, Gaetani suffered reputational damage, emotional distress, medical expenses, and other harms, including additional expenses. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney and Broyles, jointly and severally. For compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, including but not limited to medical expenses, pain and suffering, emotional distress, reputational damage, legal expenses, and other relief as the court deems just. G. Count 7. Invasion of privacy against all counter-defendants. 162. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 161. 163. The counter-defendants invaded Gaetani's privacy under MGL circa 214, section 1b by disclosing private facts about her sexual assault, e.g., the unredacted report, details to Kearney, without consent, portraying her in a false light, e.g., enabling Kearney's fake victim narrative, and intruding upon her seclusion, e.g., leaks against her wishes. 164. These acts were unreasonable, highly offensive, and violated confidentiality laws, like MGL circa 41, section 97d. 165. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 166. Kearney further invaded Gaetani's privacy by recording the sexual assault without consent and disseminating the video to her the next day, constituting an unreasonable intrusion upon seclusion and disclosure of private facts. 167. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 36. 168. The counter-defendants invaded Gaetani's privacy under MGL circa 214, section 1b by disclosing private facts about her sexual assault, e.g., the unredacted report via Broyles' Post, portraying her in a false light, e.g., as a liar and fake victim and intruding upon her seclusion, e.g., leaks and publications against her wishes. Broyles' actions, directed at Massachusetts, amplified this invasion. 169. These acts were unreasonable, highly offensive, and violated confidentiality laws. Like MGL circa 41, section 97d. 170. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 171. Kearney further invaded Gaetani's privacy through the coercive confinement during the drive, constituting an unreasonable intrusion upon seclusion and disclosure of private facts. 172. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, and other damages. 173. Kearney's use of his large platform to disclose private facts and portray Gaetani in a false light further invaded her privacy, amplifying the harm through widespread dissemination. 174. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 175. Kearney's platform-driven campaign to taint the jury pool by silencing Gaetani further invaded her privacy by portraying her in a false light and intruding upon her seclusion as a victim and a witness. 37. 176. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage, legal expenses, and loss of consortium. 177. Broyles' Gaetani files, posts further invaded Gaetani's privacy by portraying her in a false light and disclosing private facts, amplifying the harm through his platform, and inciting harassment to benefit Kearney. 178. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage, legal expenses, and loss of consortium. 179. Kearney's attempt to publish documents about Gaetani and his failed appeal of the Roe prohibiting such publication further invaded her privacy by threatening disclosure of sensitive information. 180. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage, legal expenses, and loss of consortium. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against the counter-defendants, jointly and severally, for compensatory and punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. H. Count 8. Abuse of process, against Kearney, Cosgrove, Haldeman and Broyles. 181. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 180. 182. Kearney, Cosgrove, and Haldeman initiated or facilitated legal processes, e.g. discovery release, wiretapping complaint, with ulterior motives, e.g., intimidation, enabling public disclosure, and without proper cause or safeguards. 183. These abuses caused Gaetani harm, including emotional distress and legal expenses. 38. 184. Kearney's false statements about Gaetani's legal fees and fundraising were part of his broader abuse of process, leveraging his criminal defense proceedings to defame and intimidate her. 185. Broyles' publication of the Gaetani files and the unredacted rape report constitutes an abuse of process by using public platforms to intimidate Gaetani and taint the jury pool in Kearney's criminal cases, aligning with Kearney's ulterior motives. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney, Cosgrove, Haldeman and Broyles, jointly and severally, for compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. I. Count 9. Malicious prosecution, against Kearney. 186. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 185. 187. Kearney initiated a criminal process against Gaetani, wiretapping complaint. Without probable cause and with malice, retaliation for her assault report. 188. The process terminated in Gaetani's favor, no charges filed. 189. As a direct result, Gaetani suffered emotional distress, reputational harm, legal expenses, e.g., consultations during police interview, medical expenses, and pain and suffering. 190. Kearney's appeal of the Roe provision prohibiting publication of documents constitutes an abuse of process, as it was pursued with the ulterior motive of harassing Gaetani and prolonging her exposure to harm. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney for compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, including but not limited to medical expenses, pain and 39. Suffering, emotional distress, reputational damage, legal expenses, and other relief as the court deems just. J. Count 10. Violation of Massachusetts Civil Rights Act, against Haldeman, Tully, and Cosgrove. 191. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 190. 192. Haldeman, Tully, and Cosgrove, acting under color of law, interfered with Gaetani's rights under the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights, e.g., privacy, due process, by threats, intimidation, or coercion, including improper disclosure of confidential information and failure to protect from harassment, in violation of MGLC 12, Sections 11H11I. 193. As a direct result, Gaetani suffered harm, including emotional distress and reputational damage. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Haldeman, Tully, and Cosgrove for compensatory damages, punitive damages, attorney's fees, and injunctive relief under MGLC 12, Section 11I, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. K. Count 11. Breach of statutory duty, negligence per se, against all counter-defendants. 194. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 193. 195. The counter-defendants breached statutory duties under MGL Circa 41, Section 97D and related laws by failing to maintain confidentiality of the sexual assault report. 196. This breach was negligence per se, proximately causing Gaetani's harms. 40. 197. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. 198. The counter-defendants breached statutory duties under MGL Circa 41, Section 97D and related laws by failing to maintain confidentiality of the sexual assault report, with Broyles further breaching by publishing it. 199. This breach was negligence per se, proximately causing Gaetani's harms. 200. As a direct result, Gaetani incurred medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage and legal expenses. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against the counter-defendants, jointly and severally, for compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. L. Count 12. Violation of MGL Circa 272, Section 105, unlawful dissemination of visual material, against Kearney and Broyles. 201. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 200. 202. On October 15, 2023, Kearney knowingly disseminated visual material depicting Gaetani in a state of nudity or engaged in sexual conduct, the non-consensual recording of the assault, without her written consent, in violation of MGL Circa 272, Section 105. Massachusetts Revenge Porn Statute, effective as of the events or applicable retroactively. For civil remedies. 203. Kearney's dissemination was intentional or reckless, with intent to harass, coerce, or intimidate Gaetani. 204. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered serious emotional distress. Reputational harm, medical expenses, pain and suffering and legal expenses. 41. 205. Kearney and Broyles knowingly disseminated visual or written material depicting Gaetani in a state of nudity or engaged in sexual conduct, e.g., details from the report and related posts, without her written consent, in violation of MGL circa 272, section 105. 206. Their dissemination was intentional or reckless, with intent to harass, coerce, or intimidate Gaetani. 207. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered serious emotional distress. Reputational harm, medical expenses, pain and suffering and legal expenses. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney and Broyles, jointly and severally, for compensatory damages, punitive damages, attorney's fees, and injunctive relief, e.g., prohibiting further dissemination in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. Count 13. Violation of MGL circa 272, section 99, illegal wiretapping, interception. Against Kearney. 208. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 207. 209. On October 14, 2023, Kearney secretly recorded audio and video of Gaetani during private intimate activity without her consent, and disseminated it the next day, in violation of MGL circa 272, section 99, Massachusetts wiretapping law prohibiting secret recordings. 210. This interception and disclosure were willful, without legal justification. 211. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered privacy invasion, emotional distress, medical expenses, pain and suffering, reputational damage, and legal expenses. 42. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney for compensatory damages, including statutory minimums, punitive damages, attorney's fees, and injunctive relief in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. Count 14. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, public harassment. Campaign, against Kearney. 212. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 211. 213. Kearney intentionally or recklessly conducted a public harassment campaign against Gaetani through his large media platform, including YouTube and Turtleboy Daily News, with thousands of viewers, by publishing defamatory statements, disclosing private facts, and encouraging public ridicule, knowing or recklessly disregarding that such actions would cause severe emotional distress. 214. This conduct was extreme and outrageous, beyond all bounds of decency, as it targeted Gaetani's credibility as a victim, undermined her ability to seek police protection, and violated her sense of safety and security. 215. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered severe emotional distress with physical manifestations, e.g., anxiety, insomnia, medical expenses, e.g., therapy. Reputational damage, e.g., fear of disbelief by authorities, pain and suffering and legal expenses. 216. Kearney's public statements on his platform announcing his intent to taint the jury pool by silencing Gaetani, including through this civil action, further constitute extreme and outrageous conduct, amplifying her emotional distress. 43. 217. Kearney's false statements labeling Gaetani are fake victim and his failed row appeal further constitute extreme and outrageous conduct, amplifying her emotional distress. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney for compensatory and punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. Count 15. Invasion of privacy, false light, against Kearney. 218. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 217. 219. Kearney, through his large media platform, intentionally or recklessly portrayed Gaetani in a false light before the public by publishing false statements, e.g., accusing her of fraud, lying about her assault, labeling Gaetani a fake victim of domestic violence, and misrepresenting her character, knowing or recklessly disregarding their falsity. 220. These portrayals were highly offensive to a reasonable person, as they depicted Gaetani as dishonest and untrustworthy, undermining her credibility with law enforcement and the public, and violating her sense of safety. 221. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered severe emotional distress, medical expenses, reputational damage, pain and suffering, and legal expenses. 222. Kearney's appeal of the Roe and his false, fake victim labels further portrayed Gaetani in a false light, depicting her as uncredible and harming her sense of safety. 223. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered severe emotional distress, medical expenses, reputational damage, pain and suffering, and legal expenses. 44. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney for compensatory and punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. P. Count 16. Abuse of process, jury pool tainting, against Kearney. 224. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 223. 225. Kearney initiated this civil action, including his request for injunctive relief, with the ulterior motive of tainting the jury pool in his criminal cases, Norfolk Superior Court. Docket numbers 23 to 313 and 24 to 43, by silencing Gaetani, a victim and witness, and intimidating her from testifying or speaking about her victimization. 226. This use of legal process is improper and constitutes an abuse of process under Massachusetts law, as it seeks to interfere with the fair administration of justice and suppress Gaetani's protected speech. See Vittens v. Sudduth, 41 Mass. App. Court 515, 518. 1996. Abuse of process requires ulterior purpose and willful act using process improperly. 227. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered emotional distress, reputational damage, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and legal expenses to defend against this improper action. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment against Kearney for compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. Q. Count 17. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, public harassment. Campaign, against Broyles. 228. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 227. 45. 229. Broyles intentionally or recklessly published the Gaetani Files Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3 inches containing numerous false statements about Gaetani, inducing a massive campaign of public harassment through his platform, knowing or recklessly disregarding that such actions would cause severe emotional distress. 230. This conduct was extreme and outrageous, beyond all bounds of decency, as it targeted Gaetani's credibility as a victim, incited harassment to benefit Kearney, and exacerbated her fear of disbelief by authorities and loss of safety. 231. As a direct and proximate result, Gaetani suffered severe emotional distress with physical manifestations, e.g., anxiety, insomnia, medical expenses, e.g., therapy, reputational damage, pain and suffering, and legal expenses. 232. Broyles' false statements labeling Gaetani a fake victim claim further constitute extreme and outrageous conduct, amplifying her emotional distress. R. Count 18. Contribution against all counter-defendants. 233. Gaetani incorporates paragraphs 1 to 232. 234. To the extent Gaetani is found liable on any claim in the original complaint, which she denies, the counter-defendants are joint tortfeasors whose conduct contributed to the alleged harms. Under MGL circa 231b, section 1, Gaetani is entitled to contribution from them in proportion to their fault. 235. Alternatively, if Gaetani prevails on her counterclaims, the counter-defendants shall contribute to any joint liability as determined by the court. Wherefore, Gaetani demands judgment for contribution against the counter-defendants in amounts to be determined at trial, plus interest, costs, and other relief as the court deems just. 46. Demand for jury trial. Gaetani demands a jury trial on all triable issues. Respectfully submitted. Lindsey Gaetani. Pro Se. P.O. Box 23, Westwood, Massachusetts, 02090.
That was exceptionally traumatizing to even listen to, and I can't imagine what it was like to experience, and I'm very very numb by what I've just heard. I think you should support Lindsey if you took the time to listen to that. I'll post her fundraising information in the chat. I don't want to do a traditional ending, so please just consider supporting the vulnerable and trying to do an act of service today. I'll be okay. I'll see you all again soon. We'll look at the Adelson closing, but I just need some time to be with my thoughts, okay? So I'll see you soon, and thank you all very much for listening to that. That was very difficult material. My name is Grant Smith Ellis, and thank you again, and God bless, and until we see